coming down tonight. I'm really looking forward to it because, cyber security and, just security across the Web3 space in general is a really big issue for a lot of people. And I'm really excited to learn about how you guys can help with all the things that you guys work with. So super excited about that.
Yeah, we're excited too, and glad we can be up here with Meta Builders, who's been a great ambassador for us, in the past few weeks. So,
yeah, definitely welcome, Mike, as well. Yeah, no, Meta Builders are phenomenal, and they're an absolute blessing to be around. Definitely, these guys have been in the industry a while as well, and we're lucky to be around them as well because there's many things these guys do. Super excited to be around them for certain. But yeah, right. So that's been shared out now. So yeah, so to start off with, Webacy, do you want to talk a little bit about what you guys do and the main thing that brought you guys into the industry? That'd be awesome.
Yeah. Sorry, could you say that one more time?
Yes, of course. Yeah. So we'll start off with if you guys just want to give an introduction about what services you guys provide and what it is that you guys do, that'd be brilliant.
Yeah, for sure. So, we kind of have a three-pronged approach, and that's how we're going about security. So, that is assess, monitor, and act. So, from the assess standpoint, we basically have a tool called a risk score, which you'll be able to go in. You don't even have to connect your wallet. You can type in a wallet address that you control, and it will look at the different contracts you've approved, different sites you've interacted with, all of your on-chain stuff, and it'll give you a score. So it's either low, medium, or high. But you'll get a pretty good idea of like, hey, if you want to whip up a multi-sig, who should the signers be? Probably not high risk wallet addresses. And so that is kind of the assess, just to get a good idea of where you're at, to see that baseline of what your activity has been. The next one is monitor. So we have something called Wallet Watch. And what this does is essentially allows you to get any notification and real-time alerts. So while this stuff is still in the mempool, it hasn't even been confirmed on Etherscan yet or on the blockchain yet. While it is still pending, you will get a notification and it will tell you exactly what's happening. So, you sold an NFT, your bid was accepted, somebody, your beloved NFT is on the way out and you never listed it for sale. Whatever it may be that's happening on chain. And, when you're away from keyboard, you're going to get these notifications that, will basically just keep you always in the loop. You always have your finger on the pulse. And if something were to happen, you're actually able to prevent catastrophe, because the majority of times we read these threads, it's people are just like, they find out they've been drained from like a DM from a friend. So this is just there. And these two tools I've talked about are both free. And it's really just, to increase the awareness of the user. So I'll kind of stop there. But those are like the first two things of our three-pronged approach when it comes to self-custody security.
Yeah, no, that's brilliant, and I love the score feature as well, because it's very hard to sort of weigh up the what level of security your wallet's sort of been around in regards of the space itself, especially if someone's like new to the industry and that they're working away around the space. It's good that there's a score system that people can utilize.
I think we've got a bit of a connection issue there now.
Yeah, I was just going to say then. Yeah, Bobby, your audio started to play up a little bit there, my friend. I think he's just dropped down. We'll bring him back up again, see if we can get his audio back.
Yeah, so I mean, I'll just expand on some of the things that he was talking about, with things like token approvals. Token approvals is the first stage of potentially getting hacked. So understanding those and being able to revoke those, is something that's quite important for security. Mentioned multi-sig wallets. That's something that I haven't done a huge amount of research on. I kind of figured it was pretty self-explanatory, but I kind of feel like I should have a multi-sig set up just for an extra layer of security, so that I know that something can't happen without my say so.
Sorry about that. I don't know what happened, but I should be back. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can
Yeah,
hear
all
you.
good. Yeah,
All
you're
right,
back.
cool. Sorry, yeah. So I got cut out basically right when I stopped talking. I couldn't hear the reply there from Thigh Revolution.
Is your audio okay now?
It is.
Yeah,
Yep.
brilliant. Yeah, sorry about that. Yeah, no, I couldn't hear what your response was to me. I think it just broke up a little bit. But yeah, I was.
If they
You were
can
talking about the
just
points.
elaborating.
Yeah, you were just
Go
talking
ahead.
on the point system, weren't you, Rev?
Yeah, that was right. Yeah, I thought that was a really good feature, especially for people that are new to Web3 and aren't sure about what is and what isn't, a safe environment to be in regards to your wallet. So I thought that was a really cool feature.
Yeah, thanks. Appreciate it. And so yeah, there are a lot of Web3 like security tools popping up recently. If you're familiar with like Fire, Wallet Guard, some of these other tools, just because it is just such a needed thing that we've seen. Where like if you spend any type of significant time like in this space, you're bound to just be on Twitter and see a 10 tweet thread about how someone basically lost all of their hard-earned crypto that they've been acquiring over the months, years, whatever it may be, to a social engineering hack, a phishing link, a fake mint. There's just it's like dodging mines sometimes. Like it just seems like you keep reading these things like, man, I'm glad that wasn't me. But the thing with security is it's like the user has to be right every single time. The hacker or scammer only has to be right once, and it's game over. So it's a not a very forgiving environment, that's for sure. There's no undo button like in traditional banking.
Yeah, I think that's what a lot of people don't understand is that kind of nature of how this technology works is that there is no revert button. There is no insurance unless you opt in for some sort of insurance product.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah, no, that's a really big problem as well, isn't it? Because not many people even factor that in, especially if they're new to the industry. I was looking when you on your bio where it specifies 60 million in assets protected. Is that from the people that are already utilizing your current features?
Yep, exactly. So we crossed 3,000 daily active users earlier this week. So we got a lot of people that are using our service, and like I said, Wallet Watch is free, and getting a risk score is free. So I'll when I get a chance, I will pin Meta Builders. They've tweeted about it before, so I'll pin their tweet to the top. And anybody in the audience who wants to just take 20 seconds and fill that out can while they're listening. But yeah, so we're growing pretty quickly. We have over 100,000 transactions that are analyzed monthly. We have some people who are very active every single day, getting more than 100 transactions. And I mean, personally, for me, that would almost drive me crazy. But at the same time, they definitely find the value in it of like always knowing what's happening in their wallet. So, I personally have been using it for a really long time now, and it's great. Even when you're less active, just immediately knowing when you get an NFT sale instead of having to check your OpenSea email or whatever it may be, like the ETH is entering your wallet is kind of just like a nice little dopamine hit. When that notification comes in. So
I suppose a lot some of the ways that these hacks might work is they might actually need Ethereum for gas fees in order to to do what they need to do to drain those wallets and send it elsewhere.
Yeah, so I mean, there's a ton of different ways that some of these hacks happen, whether it be social engineering, phishing link, with the Ethereum. So yeah, there's the bad contract approvals, and there's also like if you lose your seed phrase, and someone has control of it, then obviously multiple people have control of the same wallet, and that's very bad news. And so I kind of talked about our three-pronged approach with the assess and monitor. Those are like our free tools, but then we also have like a premium product suite. And in there, that's the act portion. And so this is like, hey, if you do get that notification of like, whatever it may be, like your Ethereum is moving out of your wallet and you didn't do anything that would warrant that. The act portion is something. So like one of the tools is called the panic button. So this is, if you were put in that position, just imagine you're in this position where, you kind of just slipped up. You fell for one of those fake Mint Discord announcements. You were like, oh, this is a very trusted community. They're big. This must be legit. You go to the Mint site and then you initiate the transaction and then you're like, oh my gosh, something is wrong. So there's like that moment of panic. And normally, what we've seen is like people will come into a Discord just like, what do I do? What do I do? And then they're like, everybody's just giving their advice, like send out all your ETH so then the hacker can't send out anything. Or they're like, go to revoke.cash and just start revoking. And like all of this is like decent advice. And at times it will, help prevent catastrophe. Like maybe you won't get drained. But we've basically built a tool called the panic button where you're able to transfer all of your assets in one transaction to a safe backup wallet. And so this would be like, a cold store. Ideally, it can be any wallet you want, but ideally this is a wallet that's like cold storage vault ledger, not interacting with the same contracts. That should definitely be a low risk score backup wallet. And all of our tools are completely non-custodial. So like Webacy as a company, we cannot move any of your assets. We have no control. So it's really just like an extra life. You can think of that for your self-custody, kind of setup.
A panic button. So if something's happening on your account that it doesn't seem right, you can hit a button and it will basically sort of attempt to shield you.
Well, exactly, yeah. So basically, it would be like all of your assets that there is some like work you have to do up front to make sure that this is capable of happening. So it's not just like if you sign up for Webacy, after you're hacked, you can go and like execute the panic button. It's not ready to go. You have to do this kind of beforehand, where you come into our dashboard, you are essentially writing a smart contract. So you're coming in and you're doing so similar to if you've ever listed anything on OpenSea or Uniswap. That very first time you go to trade a token, whether it be a non-fungible token or a fungible token, you have to sign like that very small approval. It's like 20 to 50 cents normally. And you're normally approving that to Uniswap, or you're approving it to OpenSea that's saying, hey, if I list this for 2 ETH, someone comes and buys that 2 ETH, they will get the NFT, I will get the ETH. But in this case, you're pre-approving it to yourself. So the only other person that would have control is that wallet that you designate, which is your safe backup wallet, which is, like I said, a safe ledger, cold storage, et cetera, et cetera. So you're essentially creating a backdoor for yourself.
So the contracts would all have to be individually approved in order for them to be involved with the action.
Yes.
Yeah, it's pretty cool, man. I think that's a really novel idea. And like you say, it's something you have to go into and set up and get going. But yeah, I like the idea. I think it's really cool.
Yeah, I was just thinking that was a really great feature. And also, congratulations on the amount of users that you guys have had as well. I think that's a really amazing achievement, especially in such a short space of time. And, over 100,000 transactions analysed, I think is brilliant because, like I was saying, the big problem with the space is, the security and people that are new to it being, taken advantage of. And having a feature like that, I mean, can be an absolute game changer, especially when people are operating with thousands of dollars, even more. Is there sort of guides for these tools as well? So if people aren't as well adapted to Web3, let's say, is there some sort of tutorials for people to be able to learn how to utilize these tools?
Yes. So I've actually personally gone through like a complete Loom video that goes through and shows like how to get set up on the full product suite. Sorry, can you hear me?
Yeah, loud and
Oh,
clear.
okay. So, all right, cool. I was PTSD from the first time, but so with risk score, that first one, like that, it's very, very basic. It's literally, you don't even have to connect your wallet. You can just type in a wallet address and it will give you the risk score, because everything is done kind of with the on-chain action. So you just would type in an ENS or address, you get it back. With Wallet Watch, it is again like, a 15-second setup. You just connect your wallet. So, if you have MetaMask installed, you just would sign in, and then you type in your email or phone number and hit submit. And those are the 2 steps on that one. And then we do have like I said, we have a full tutorial Loom video that I don't know if it's completely public. If not, if it's not public, you could always DM us. We can send it to you, and you can get set up, step by step. But then also the Webacy team, we do offer like, if you do sign up and you want to go through this and you're like, I just would really like one-on-one help, someone just to make sure that I do this completely right. I don't want to make any mistakes. I want to have my answers or my questions answered. We can hop on a one-on-one. We can pass over the Calendly. You can schedule something, and we will, help you get through the full process because, obviously it is a security product, and you definitely don't want, when that panic moment happens, be like, oh my gosh, I ended up setting it up wrong, or I forgot to add this token or whatever. So yeah, do not hesitate to reach out. We can, help you get set up.
Yeah, no, that's brilliant. Yeah, no, thank you. There is some questions in the comment section. Are you all right if I read those out to you?
Yeah, absolutely.
Brilliant. So one of the questions was, who's auditing your code and your API?
So we have a Certic audit. You can find it on the website. It's in the trust and safety section of our website. So if you just go to webacy.com, scroll all the way down, it'll say trust and safety, and the 39-page Certic audit report will be right there, and you can check it out.
Wow, that's awesome. Yeah, that question was from Crypto Never Sleeps. He does ask 2 more questions. I'll read them out if that's all right. The next one is, how much data are you capturing with these tools, and what type of PII and IP, etc.?
Yeah, so the only thing, like what you would submit, so we would have, we have the email, we have the wallet address, and we have the phone number, but that's it. So, and that the phone number and the email are optional, and then everything else is, encrypted. There's no possibility for leaks, stuff like that.
No, that's brilliant. And I think that wasn't a question. The next one, it was just saying, actually, insurance products are active in USA for certain cryptocurrencies. Yeah, I'm not 100% certain if that's a question. No, that's brilliant. It's awesome that that's on the website as well, so that people can easily find that. And what would you say so far has been your most effective tool? Has there been the one that sort of stood out beyond the rest that has, really, been a great help and that people have talked about?
Yeah, so I mean, I would probably say Wallet Watch, just because it is kind of like it's the product that basically everybody starts with. Like they check out Wallet Watch, and it's useful for all the other tools too. Like where it's like, if you want to execute the panic button, like the majority of the time, you're first going to get that notification that like you need to execute the panic button. So Wallet Watch kind of ties in there. And then there's just casual users who are just like, I want to know what's going on in my wallet at all times. They're signing up, so that's definitely the most popular product. I guess I haven't touched on like the full act portion because there is more than just the panic button. We do have a crypto will, because that was basically the I don't know the word, the motivation to start the company. That was the inspiration. The first question is like, what happens to your crypto when you die? That was, why the company was initially started. And so we do have that. We have a crypto will, again, non-custodial. And it is a question that we like to ask a lot of people, where it's like, if you died, if you got hit by a bus, what would happen to your crypto? And most people are like, I don't know. Like, hopefully my spouse that has never touched crypto in their entire life can come in, unlock my ledger, and if not, then they can go and get my seed phrase and like, you know, when you start actually thinking about it, like kind of people realize how unprepared they actually are. And obviously nobody really thinks that something like that would happen to them until it does. And, you know, then it's just absolute chaos. And so, you know, that was what founded the company, was the digital will, what happens to your crypto after you die. And then, you know, as we spent more time in the space, we realized like people are losing it before they even like have to execute the will. You know what I'm saying? So it's like we're now focusing on, from the start to the finish, helping people on the security like spectrum get all the way across the finish line. So not get hacked, not get scammed. And then whenever you know, that time does come, your beneficiaries will be able to, you know, receive your assets.
Yeah, I mean, there's a project that I've spent a bit of time with called Serenity Shield, and they're solving that same kind of issue of what happens when you die, what happens to your stuff. So that how they do it is they have an NFT that locks the stuff inside it, and then based on prerequisites, will then release it, release the NFT to next of kin, and then they can act with Serenity Shield to release the funds.
Yeah. So that's pretty similar to us. You're able to actually add like 3 beneficiaries, divvy out the different assets. Like you'd be like, hey, I want my Pudgy Penguin to go to my brother. I want my Punk to go to my son, whatever it may be. And you can actually just go through and do percentages and different NFTs and all that stuff. So
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, and it's accomplished through a dead man switch. So basically, we assign your wallets, so you can bundle all of your wallets from your cold storage to the one you degen mint on, and it has a heartbeat. So whenever any of them initiate anything on chain, that clock resets. But after a certain amount of time of inactivity, the dead man switch will trigger. No assets will ever be transferred, but the beneficiaries will then be able to come in and claim those assets.
That's quite cool. So you can sort of divvy up, have a sort of a set plan of action for people to get their stuff.
Yep, and so right now it's completely like anon friendly, but on like the near roadmap, we're also going to integrate stuff that's like, if your son is 6 years old, it doesn't make sense for him to like have a wallet address that he needs to like access to come in and claim the assets. So we're definitely like working on getting a solution that is, completely anon friendly, but then also something where it's like we will ensure that the assets that you control like get to the beneficiary that you want them to.
Yeah, I mean, I think Serenity Shields have found sort of similar kinds of obstacles of making it user friendly, and making it as simple to use as possible, and they're finding that a real challenge. And I'm sure you probably agree that you're experiencing a similar sort of challenge in sort of how to get it as user friendly as possible, right?
Yeah, exactly. And there's a ton of like, we were considering like an Oracle that was going to take death certificates, and there's like a lot of complications with that, and like people faking their own death or whatever, like whatever it may be. So we have like the on-chain trustless deadman switch right now, but we're continuing to build out all of the tools in the entire tool bag of Webacy.
That is absolutely mind blowing. And is the crypto will a legal document?
No, so it's not illegal. So the our digital will, crypto will, is essentially just a smart contract, and it'll be achieved very similarly to how I was talking about the panic button / backup wallet, where you will approve these assets to different wallets, but the smart contract won't essentially allow those beneficiaries to claim until that heartbeat hits a certain time limit. So right now, I think the default is 15 months, which is a long time. And, we're working on allowing the user to like customize that, make it shorter, make it longer. It also depends on the user. Like if they're an extremely active user, then, it probably would make sense to like shorten that time down a bit. But like, there's a lot of people who are just more sit and hold and
Yeah.
yeah. So it's not, and you're never going to be like blindsided. So also, with like giving us your email, we're going to be reaching out like, hey, you haven't done anything, confirm you're still alive with this on-chain like task, and then the Oracle will pick it up, and then the clock will reset, kind of thing. And then also it's optional, but you can put in emails of those other beneficiaries where, if that time does come, then all the instructions and claiming instructions will go directly to them. Our numbers to reach out if they need help, kind of thing, to
Yeah.
assets are safely transferred.
No, that's brilliant. And in regards to the wallet watch, is there a set amount of notifications that people have access to?
So it's unlimited. So the free version is you can watch one wallet, unlimited notifications. Yeah. If you want to like add all of your wallets, then the options are either is to buy Grimmy. That's kind of like our native NFT. So if you own a Grimmy, you get additional benefits. And we just rolled out a like yearly subscription plan last week as well, which is $100 a year for everything.
How much? Sorry, was it?
Oh, so we if you just want to watch one wallet,
Yeah.
unlimited, you get unlimited notifications, completely free. And if you want the like panic button backup wallet and all of that with unlimited wallets, then there is a subscription you can sign up for. That's $100 a year.
That is amazing. To me, that is so worth it. But to have that many layers of protection and have that, features that you just wouldn't normally get, and have that sort of safety blanket around your assets for only $100 a year, I think that's a brilliant price, actually.
Sure, and there are lots of people that have lots of money in these wallets, and it would depend. I mean, if you've got a couple £100 in there, £100 a year might not seem worth it, but if you've got a few thousand in there, then it's absolutely worth it.
Yep, yeah. Totally. And you're able to scale it up, like if you just want wallet watch, and then you start making some good trades, and you're like, all right, I want to take this $10,000 I just made on my Pepe coin trade, and reinvest 1% of that into safety to make sure I don't lose it all. That would be like the wise thing to do in my opinion.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more to that, especially when people are holding speculative assets, and when people are you may get your hands on NFTs that are like the start of someone's journey in making NFTs, and you might have 10 separate NFT projects that they've released, and you've got access to one of the first ones. There's a multitude of reasons, but £100 a year, I think, for anyone that's got even $1,000 worth of assets that could potentially be worth a lot more in bull run after bull run. Yeah, sorry, Mike Smart, you got a question?
Yeah, I was just curious if you had if it's already set up to handle corporate accounts, like if you had 300 people that you needed one of these mechanisms for like a business, would you be able to move that many assets on a moment's notice like that?
Yeah, I mean, it just depends on how they hold it. So if it's just held in a single wallet, then yeah, absolutely. I mean, that in that case, there's no issues. Now, if it's like a multi-sig for a corporation that there's multiple signers, then only some like Wallet Watch would work. You could get the risk score of the signers, but executing the panic button would need multiple signatures. So that would be kind of like a coordinated effort. But that's also like that's just kind of a difference with the multi-sig. There are some nuance there that there are some different pros and cons of something like a setup like that, but the crypto will and that kind of stuff would still be able to be executed, since that's a like pre-setup type thing. So But in the corporate account, like if you're like a custodied solution, then it really doesn't make sense to go through Webacy, to be quite honest. Like if there's like a Coinbase or somebody like that that's holding the assets, Fireblocks or whatever that may be, yeah, like the tools we've been talking about, don't really make as much sense.
Yeah, no, that was a great question, by the way, Mike. Another question from the comment section by Crypto Never Sleeps. I think it was in reference to the data that you were capturing. Is the data stored in a centralized location?
That's a good question. I'll have to get back with you on that. I do not really know off the top of my head, to be quite honest.
Yeah, no, that's fine. Yeah, no problem.
Yeah.
Crypto Never Sleeps is a guy that we know from TikTok, and he's a real critical thinker, and I like it because he always looks from a different angle at stuff, and he's always looking to ask like the tough questions, to try and get to those toughest questions, if you know what I mean.
Oh yeah, we really appreciate that, and that's the best way to grow. Is to really figure out what the people are, what they want, I mean, I guess I can't turn it back on him, but like, where would you like, this stuff to be stored ideally? Like that kind of stuff, that would definitely be beneficial and help build out the products is feedback is very valuable right now as we continue to build.
I mean, there's a lot of decentralized storage options out there these days, and maybe there could be a solution with something like that if it needs it. Yeah, like I say, he likes to ask tough questions, and I like that.
Yeah, he has got a really phenomenal level of understanding of the Web3 space. So yeah, he definitely asks great questions. But no, appreciate your honesty with that, Webacy.
So yeah, I've been using Webacy's product for a while. The Wallet Watch thing. I think it's great. I love it because there was one occasion where I had done something in the morning which I wasn't planning on doing. It was kind of a spur of the moment thing, but it was something that I probably should have done. And I can't remember where I was going with this now. And then a little bit later, I was away from my phone and stuff. And a little bit later, I came back to my phone. I was like, what the hell have I done here? And then it jogged my memory. And I was like, oh, yeah, I did that thing earlier. And just little things like that were just to remind you to keep an eye on yourself almost.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, like if you don't have it on, I've like relogged into my MetaMask after a while, and I'll have like more or less ETH, and I'm like what in the world happened? And it would be like, then I would go to my Etherscan and I would look, and I'd be like, oh, that bid I made, 2 weeks ago that was still valid. Like the floor dropped of that NFT, and then like I have a new NFT in my wallet, and
Exactly, something like that. Yeah, exactly.
Or like somebody just sent me some ETH yesterday, and I was like, I even looked into it. I got the notification. I was like, I have no idea. It was dust. It was like $3, but they sent it to 100 people, and I was like, I have no idea what this is. But just be able to like immediately get it, look into it. Like, is this malicious? That kind of stuff has definitely been beneficial to me, just in my personal crypto use.
Yeah, I definitely think it's brilliant for a multitude of reasons. I'm really impressed by it, to be honest, and I'm looking forward to utilizing them services definitely for that level of protection. What I personally think is a really affordable price. I think it's brilliant because that brings a lot of security, just peace of mind as well of knowing you've got extra layers in place so that you can protect your assets, especially when you're getting into things early. And with some stuff, you can do your research and still get caught. So it's just good to have that extra layer.
Totally. Yeah. I mean, we've seen very experienced crypto people. I mean, you see Kevin, I don't know if you're familiar with Kevin Rose, but, the founder of Moonbirds, like he's been in the space since 2017 doing NFT stuff, crypto stuff. And he lost millions of dollars worth of NFTs last month or 2 months ago. Like, it can really affect anybody if you don't always have your guard up.
Yeah. No, you're not wrong. You're not wrong with that. Definitely. Is anyone who's listening got any questions at the moment before we carry on? If so, do put your hand up or do drop it in the comment section, and I will definitely read them out. So, how long have you guys been in the space for?
So me personally, I got in late 2020. Well, in NFTs and I guess more of like Web3. I had owned, Bitcoin before that, but it was kind of just something where it sat on Coinbase and, I just almost treated it like a stock. So I don't know. When I say in the space, I don't really count like back in 2017, 2018, like when I was just buying stuff on Coinbase. But
Yeah.
Web3, like connecting to wallets, connecting to dApp, stuff like that. That was personally for me, late 2020. Bought my first NFT in January of 2021. Kind of right before everything went crazy. The company was founded in October of 2021. So we've been around for a decent amount of time now. And like I said, kind of earlier, the inspiration for the company is kind of where it started, was just from that one digital wheel product, and now we've grown into kind of the full suite since then.
Yeah, and I think that's a brilliant way to start as well. 'Cause, I mean, first of all, people can have been in the industry for years and years, but how into the industry they've been can vary on how much time they put in and what they spend doing in that time as well. So there's that, and also I think that's so important to have a digital will for assets because, for example, I've got 5 children and my wife is as not interested in this industry as you can possibly imagine. So if anything was to happen to me, I know that without a feature like that in place, she would have absolutely no way of being able to access any of the things that I personally hold. So it'd be brilliant to have a feature like that in place to help in a situation like that. So I think that's a really cool feature. But I'm really impressed with the wallet watch as well. I think that's brilliant. Just having something that's watching when you're not. I think it's brilliant.
I mean, I'm surprised it's only, what was it? Was it 3 or 5,000 users? Was it?
Yes, we crossed the 3,000 daily active users mark this week.
That's crazy, man. That's crazy. It should be bigger, in my opinion. I think more people need to know about, especially that wallet watch stuff, because that builds a layer of trust for your other products, and I think that can only be a positive thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, well said.
I mean, my first impressions as well. Like I heard about it, I was like, "Oh, that's really cool. I'm gonna, check that out." And I looked at it and I was like, "Oh, these guys are professional. They you can see that security is something that is, the key priority here, and sort of, live put you're setting the standards for yourself quite high, and I'm like, what, I like these guys. Like, it looks like a solid product, and then you attach your brand to other services. Me as a potential buyer, I would do business with people that I trust and people that I've used before and that do cool stuff for me, like send me notifications when my wallet does stuff. Yeah, Webacy's cool. I like you, and I like what you've got going on.
Yeah, thank you. So I saw one more question from Crypto Never Sleeps, where he says something about other security tools. I can't find it right now, but it was something about a YubiKey. So we do recommend like 2-factor authenticator. So the people on the Webacy growth team, like we will go and kind of like this Twitter space, but we've gone into communities and one way to kind of talk about our product, but also just like provide value for these different communities, is to do a like wallet security educational workshop. So just something to get somebody, like, even if they don't use Webacy's products at all, they can get there like almost 90% of the way there, of like, you're pretty much set up for success. Ideally, like with the exception of Wallet Watch, like Webacy's hoping you don't use our products. Like we're hoping that you don't have to execute the panic button, use the backup wallet. I guess at some point everybody will have to use a crypto will, but like, obviously we don't want that. So, we will come in and just help people avoid getting into those types of situations. So this is stuff like, yes, using two-factor authenticator, Yubico key, strong passwords. Like a lot of the hacks that happen in crypto can be prevented just from like proper, even like Web 2 internet security, safety type stuff. So strong passwords, password manager, two-factor authenticator, reducing spam by like looking at your settings of your different DMs. Like that's the simple thing where it's like, it's a lot harder to get phished when you can't even get a DM, on Discord or Twitter. And now obviously that might not be practical. So then you can kind of like reel it back a little bit. Like only friends can message you. Another good tip for, crypto, but it's still kind of Web 2-ish, is to bookmark those most popular dApps that you use. So like Uniswap, Etherscan, OpenSea. There's a lot of these hacks that happen are, they use a hyperlink that it's like OpenSea with, a U instead of a E or something, something along those lines, where it's like you don't even notice the site looks exactly the same, but then you sign that bad approval. So stuff like that, there are definitely some great security just tips and tricks that you can use that will, get you reduce the chances of you getting hacked like tenfold. So those are just kind of like some off the top of my head right there, but there's definitely more out there that you can, in 30 minutes you can get set up and it can save you and set the foundation for, the rest of the time you're in crypto.
Yeah, that is really impressive. That is really impressive, and
I was going to say, someone clip that. Just words of real wisdom there. Like, great, solid advice. Lots of people are making this transition from Web 2 to Web 3. And all the best information that they can get, the better, if that makes sense. And you come across as someone that wants to educate people about the right way to do this stuff, to avoid, like you say, avoid having to use your kind of products and services, having the knowledge to not get wrecked, basically.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I mean, because it can affect anybody. And, there are definitely unique aspects to Web3. Like, when you're going on a website, there's no like forgot your password kind of thing with the current Web3 self-custody solutions. Like if you lose your seed phrase and your private key, like there's no, that's why there's so much lost Bitcoin over the years. Like that's like 90% of the losses are, it was on a hard drive that I lost access to. It was on a wallet that I threw away the seed phrase and I lost access. So, there's definitely less margin for error in Web 3, which is, seems backwards as we're like evolving from Web 2 to Web 3. But it's just kind of the nature of how it is right now. And there are different solutions like the social recovery, Argent. But yeah.
I heard about social recovery. I don't know much about it. Could you explain it to me? Like, if I can learn a little something from you there, that'd be great.
Yeah. So social recovery, I haven't actually done it myself, to be honest, but I've read about it. So it would be like, you go to set up a wallet. So let's just say your ENS is the bacon sandwich.eth or whatever it may be. Okay. So you like set that up and then you can sign like 3 people. So it's like me, Meta Builders, and Thigh Revolution. So, we're like your trusted social recoverers. So now if something were to happen, all of us can go and basically like vouch that, hey, like this is the rightful owner to this, and basically get you back access to your wallet in Argent. So that's like the social recovery. It's like you appoint these people, and then like they should be trusted, and then they can just like agree like, hey, this is the rightful person, give them back their like wallet.
No, that's pretty crazy. So it's kind of like a recovery by consensus kind of idea.
Yeah. So I mean, there is definitely like an element of trust. That's in crypto, everything kind of seems to be like trustless. But yeah. So like, I'm not an expert in social recovery. So like, if there was like a little off right there, but like that is my understanding from what I've read. I personally just manage my own seed phrase and private keys, but I've always thought that it was a pretty unique solution and interesting.
Yeah, I think it is interesting after hearing sort of more about what it is. You're probably going to send me down a rabbit hole now.
Yeah, so I mean, I would say start at Argent because I know that's kind of like their unique selling proposition of like their wallet, Argent. So they have
That's a wallet provider, or is that a network?
no, that's a wallet provider. It'll still be like Ethereum wallets.
Okay,
Yep.
that's really cool.
Yeah, that is really cool. Because I think that's affected a lot of people. Having forgetting seed phrases or having misplaced where you've kept that information safe. I think it's a really really important feature to have because you can keep something safe for years and then something could happen, and if you've got a trusted circle of people that can hold that information or be those people that can help you recover that, again, another game changer, and an amazing service, I think, because like you said, it's sort of being a transition from Web 2 to Web 3. There are certain things in this industry that happen that shouldn't really, if it is to evolve from the systems that we're used to now to progress into the Web 3 sector. So I think that's a great feature.
Yep. Yeah, and so you can really personalize it to just like your level of like usability, security. There's definitely different levels of like, in my opinion, it's like there's not just advice that applies to everyone when it comes to like getting a wallet set up. Like it doesn't make sense to tell the guy with $50 to go set up a multi-sig wallet. It's just, it doesn't make any sense. Like that's literally a smart contract wallet that you have to pay gas to set up in the first place. Like you would have no money left. But like as you continue to build your wealth and hit these different levels, like there are things like you should just kind of like tailor your risk by start like getting more wallets, like separating your wealth into different wallets. Now there's not that singular point of failure. It's like I did everything I could, but all of my wealth was on just one wallet. Like that is risky in itself. So kind of as you continue to grow, like there are different things you can do to kind of just like reduce that your risk exposure. So whether it be Argent, whether it be Gnosis, whatever it may be, like figure out what works for you. But yeah, there's a lot of cool tools out there, and we at Webacy don't really think we're at like competition with everybody. Like we, like all these different tools, we will 100% endorse them and say what we think about them and encourage them as well. So.
Yeah, no, that's brilliant. And how many tools do you guys have? Do you just focus on the three things that you mentioned earlier?
Yeah, well, yeah. So those are kind of like the three different categories, I guess. So like a score for the assess, we have wallet watch for the monitor, and then the act. That's really three tools. I didn't really go crazy on the backup wallet, but the panic button in case something happens, the crypto whale in case you die, and then the backup wallet. Just like a very very quick brief overview. That is kind of what we were just saying. Like if you lost access to your seed phrase, your private key, you basically lost access to your wallet. That backup wallet that you set up, so again, ideally this is like a cold storage vault ledger wallet, is actually able to come in and execute the smart contract in a similar fashion as the panic button. So the panic button gets executed by that main wallet, but the backup wallet can execute a similar function that will pull all of those protected assets into that safe backup wallet. So we've had people like I don't advise this, but they just recorded their seed phrase on a piece of paper. They live down in New Orleans. Their basement flooded. They couldn't see their seed phrase anymore. but they were able to just come in, execute the smart contract, and pull those assets into it, because they literally lost access. They also lost access to their computer. So computer gone, seed phrase gone. They're like, oh my God, my wallet's gone. But then the backup wallet, which was stored at a different physical location, was able to connect, execute it, get the assets.
That is incredible.
That is incredible.
And it's the same process. It's the pre-approvals. So, yep, it's basically just executing the panic button from a different wallet that you also control. So it's your backup wallet. It's your back door.
Yeah, that's really cool. I thought actually it might be a good opportunity for Rev to tell you guys about the communities and kind of who we are and what we're about. Obviously, you can see there's a bunch of pluses in the room. And Rev is the guy to definitely tell you about the plus and what we're up to.
Yeah, sure, absolutely. Yeah, so the communities is exactly that. It's a community of communities from people right across the Web3 space, which is why we were really excited about you guys coming on actually Webacy, because when looking at what you guys provide, I just think it's absolutely essential that people at least know about it, if not utilize those services or consider utilizing those services for all of the reasons that they exist. And the plus basically represents everything that we're about, which is positivity, adding value, being an addition, and Web3. And it's a way that we can sort of represent each other without having to sacrifice your own identity. So you don't have to sacrifice your name or your profile picture, but we stand together as a multitude of communities to try and help educate each other, support each other, and and make people aware of features such as what you guys provide, so that people can learn different ways in which to keep their assets safe, to learn about Web3 in general. And we want to work together to help make sure Web3 still exists in the future, so that we can all continue to enjoy building on it, investing in it, and just being around it in general. So yeah, that's what the communities is, and that's what the plus represents.
Yeah, that's an awesome mission.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, it's been really enjoyable. That's the whole point of Web3 is collaboration and community, and having the ability to find different products, services, and people and communities that can help each other in these ways. So what you guys do sound amazing, and it's something I'm definitely going to be utilizing myself personally, and I'm sure everyone enjoyed listening and learning about what you guys do, because having those features in place, especially when you're getting involved in an industry so early, I think is definitely something that people should be considering for sure. And very shortly we're going to be moving over to Mike Smart from Meta Builders. So Webacy, is there anything else that you want to talk about before we do that?
Nope. I do have to say I will have to go here. I just blocked it off till 5, and I got to go to a dinner now for Mother's Day. But it was great being on here. Talking about Webacy and getting to know you guys better. So looking forward to continuing working in the future and following your growth as well with the community of communities.
Yeah, no, thank you. I appreciate it. The space will be recorded, so if you do want to listen back and catch up on anything that you did miss, then you will have the ability to do that. And thank you for coming on. We really do appreciate it, and I look forward to seeing where you guys go with this as well. And we hope you continue with the success of getting more users on board, because it sounds like you guys are growing at a really fast rate. So congratulations on that.
Yeah, thank you so much. And you guys have a great rest of the space, and I'll definitely check it out, the recording.
Yeah, brilliant. Yeah, thank you, buddy.
Yep.
Yeah, you're always welcome back, bro. You're always welcome back.
Sounds good.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you very much. Right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome Mike Smart from Meta Builders. Mike, how are we doing, my friend?
Oh, I'm all right. A little bummed out that he's had to leave, because it's would have been nice to have a conversation about web security, Web3 security, because that's part of what we do. But maybe next time.
Yeah, no.
But anyway,
I would have been wanted to listen into that conversation.
Yeah, me too.
Well, provide me an opportunity to keep it short and sweet. But no. Yeah. Anyways, my name is Mike Smart, the founder of Meta Builders and Smart Digital Payments. We provide turnkey solutions for businesses and brands who want to enter Web3. With that, we have professional artists, animators, marketers, Web2 and Web3 developers, front end and back end. We've got multiple partnerships with various businesses that fill in the gaps on things that we can't or have yet to develop. For instance, Crypto Magazine is part of our marketing arm, where they're in 19 countries all across the globe, in airports and the top 100 hotels. So essentially, we just bridge the gap between Web 2 and Web 3 in traditional businesses. And what we're doing is building a decentralized infrastructure so that people can conduct business with anonymous individuals in a way that's trustless and transparent. That's essentially the
Yeah,
gist.
nice. Impressive, to say the least. Yeah, so the another part that makes it trustless. Are you able to just go into a bit of depth on that, on in regards of how it's trustless?
Yeah, basically, we have a bounty board through DAO tooling called dwork.xyz. And with that, we're able to utilize various different currencies as payment, and the whole business workings, like the communication between the freelancers and meta builders, and the communication between meta builders and the client, are all visible and then stored and delivered at the end of each project via an NFT on Polygon, so that it's all clear who did the task, who set the task, who verified the work, and who paid it, and what contracts paid it. And it's all done through multi-sig Gnosis that was mentioned earlier, and all ran by a DAO, which essentially the DAO, we want the DAO to consist of everybody doing business in the Web3 space. That way we can maintain that level of transparency all the way through and add value to certain aspects of security that Webacy and companies like that don't offer. It's like they have a great tool and mechanism for personal wallets and things of that sort, but I think one of the biggest risks in this industry is the workforce, the people who are doing the jobs, that are doing the tasks. Those are usually the fraudulent actors who are trying to take advantage of people or situations. And if you can just prove that these people are reasonable actors, and working in good faith through a platform like Meta Builders, who are already a trusted network of Web3 OGs and people who know what a scam looks like and know what a reasonable business looks like. We have so many different layers of security there, but that added layer of blockchain security and transparency really provides anonymous individuals, one, an opportunity to find work for legitimate businesses and projects, but two, it provides traditional businesses, industry style businesses, the security to be able to utilize these anonymous individuals, which some of them are highly skilled and just are trying to hide from their government because they're not trying to get killed for participating in the metaverse or whatever, and these are real threats in certain areas. And being anonymous is important to people who have those type of risks, and they should be able to continue to be anonymous, but also be able to build their resume in a way that doesn't need their social security card to be able to verify who they are.
Yeah, and I'm really glad you said that, actually, because you're absolutely right in that, in regards of it's the people that are doing that at the back end that people worry about, because it's those individuals that have the know-how and the ability to do so. So it's a really great shout that you mentioned that.
Yeah, and it also it can also be a process of kind of weeding out weaker players. So like if you've got people that come highly rated, then you can verify that their work is of a high standard. Where you can see the history of someone else's work that may be considered subpar by some, it gives people an opportunity to basically pick the best people to work with. Is that kind of how it works?
Yeah, exactly. So that like later down the road, as we develop, as we, grow this thing, it's going to have a multitude of different functions that allow people to like streamline the project building process. And there will be layers and levels to participants, like the OGs. We're trying to make it fun too, right, for the future. And it's all like this big game. That's why the meta game, it's like, so there will be token gating NFT wearables and things of that sort that allow people to get a job board in the metaverse that other people can't even have access to, and these will be those higher level jobs that we won't be sending out bounties for to the general public. And then there will be other level projects, like let's say there's some anon group of NFT guys who just want, to promote this art project, and they're not really trying to develop anything major, and we don't want to really put our name on it as meta builders, but we can still put the tasks and the bounties up for the general public to be able to do that, and in a transparent way to say like, hey, look, this is this type of package, trust it as much as you can because it's in this realm of activities,
Yeah, because I kind of feel like there's a lot of really good ideas that don't get acted upon because they don't really know sort of how to do it, especially when it comes to business, because business are kind of clueless when it comes to Web3. So you can provide like just a full ecosystem to build something out.
right? And it also helps us, or it helps everyone else verify us, because like there are some projects that we bang out right away, and like, for example, our articles, when we set a bounty for through PageDAO and we get somebody to write a Web3 article for us, we can get those in and out within days, no problem. Just like written, paid. But some of the projects take a little bit longer, and so you'll start seeing where meta builders thrives and where we struggle, and the public can then jump in and see the inner workings of a business and where the pain points are. And then anonymous, or not, they don't have to be anonymous, but, freelancing individuals can come in, fill the gap, and I just think it provides opportunities for people to jump into leadership that normally wouldn't, because there's no barriers to the leadership. If you want to be a leader, you're more than welcome to be a leader. Step up and do the most. You'll get the most, and it'll be publicly obvious that you're doing so.
Yeah, that's really cool. The fact that you're kind of looking out for the guys that can't operate in old school ways. Like you said, there could be numerous different reasons as to why someone wants to remain anonymous. It doesn't mean that they're not awesome at what they do.
Yeah, or an honest person, right? Because some people are not anonymous because they're trying to do something fraudulent. They're anonymous
100%.
out of self-protection. It's like, even might be something as simple as their significant other doesn't know about their second life in the metaverse, and they want to keep it a secret because they're a cool guy or something. It's like, it doesn't matter what it is. It's just there should be a place where anonymous individuals can conduct business without, but there still needs to be that layer of security. You can't just, because right now we have the Wild West where anybody and everybody can just rip you off and then just disappear. But if we only do business with people who have the verified NFTs that we've done business before, and if they haven't earned that NFT, they go through a process to verify their capabilities and get roles through metagame. Now you have multiple levels of security there.
Yeah, because at first, when I first got into space and started understanding it, that I was always confused as to why people would want to remain anonymous if they had nothing to hide. But there's actually so many reasons why that could be important. Even down to people having a huge reputation that could put people at risk. Because if someone knew that person with such reputation, could come with a huge following, and what they're doing would get a lot of attention, and what they're building, people don't want any attention to. Just down to things like that. So I think that it's really amazing, and also, the things that people are actually working on as well. Certain technologies put people's lives at risk just because of what it is that what people are creating can do. Especially with the way that the world's changing from where it's going to where it's been to where it's going. That does factor a lot of risk to individuals. So I think it's a brilliant feature. But to have that level of security in place in between as well, for like you said, for still keeping people safe on the other end, I just think's genius in my opinion. Wolfpack's got a question and he's got his hand up. How are we doing, Wolf?
Hey, what's up? I was just going to tell you, I always used to be on the side of things saying, well, you can always just dox yourself, right? And I just used to always think that. Well, and I was like, no, there's no reason. And then I met a lady, and her son was like in some kind of like drug syndicate, right? And the whole family had gone into, what is it? Witness protection program. Yeah. And I was like, oh, wow. I never thought about that. And she shouldn't be like excluded from, being able to participate. And then I started thinking after that, no, there's like a lot of reasons. Maybe you have a crazy ex-boyfriend or girlfriend, I mean, there could be a dozen reasons. But like you said, with something like what you're talking about, you still have that layer of protection there. You're just not, putting yourself out there, which is, I think it's fair.
Yeah, like instead of Maria, you're Bobo 42. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. And that's totally fine.
Yeah. No, and I mean, and like you said, there's, just listening to this, I didn't think of any of that other stuff. And sometimes, like I said, you have to look at other points of view. But, like you said, what if you're some guy high up in a banking industry and they don't want you connected with, a small project that you're doing? That doesn't mean you shouldn't be able to do it. You should be able to still do it, just kind of stay anonymous, but keep it to the point where there's ways of proving it,
Right. And that is another solid point, right? Is that this community of communities is that platform where people, can come. Like, there's so many conflicting ideologies and views in this world in general, and people don't get along because of dumb shit all the time. Mm-hmm. And so if you could provide a platform where everybody has a voice and is allowed to speak on topics without the judgment and, even without the backlash and the death threats and all these added things that shouldn't exist in communication, especially when it comes to important issues like community of communities. Yes, we have a direction and we have we have a specific type of individual that we vibe with, but that doesn't mean that we're going to not allow somebody a platform to speak the conflicting ideologies, because that is precisely how we, get to the solution to these core issues. And with these type of platforms that provide this level of anonymity and security for anonymous individuals, we can have these hard conversations without the risk that is involved in human, Well,
error. I thought even yesterday, right? I came on here and they were talking about Pulse Chain, and I had a point of view that I'm not a big fan of Pulse Chain because of, I was saying how it doubles basically the NFTs that you have. But then I listened, we sat here and talked, and then I kind of changed my mind and said, well, what if you could then turn off your Ethereum NFT, but turn on your pulse chain NFT and be able to move through the, Web3 space without way less cost, right? And it's like, I would have never come up to that conclusion without talking with a good group of people where you can get that different point of view. And I said it yesterday. If you thought everything you did was right, you'd go in the corner and talk to yourself. But you're not going to do that because you want to learn different points of view. And I just thought it was funny that I literally proved myself wrong, talking on the space, and I was like, wow, that's kind of interesting.
I think it's just a case of just having better information about what it was and how it functions. Because then the better understanding you have of something, the better judgment you can give it.
Oh, and you see what I got in my name now?
Yeah, I see that. Top man.
Yeah.
So did you have any questions for Met Builders?
I just wanted to say I really like his presentation, and I was listening to what he was saying, and I think it's good to have another option other than docs. Like I said, I don't have another option than to be doxxed, because with the dog rescue, I have to be in person anyway, because I'm taking pictures with the dogs and I'm doing that. So I'm doxxed, but that doesn't mean that there's not a good reason for there to be, good, like, people out here doing it. And I love that idea. The way that you have that is not only because now knowing with the NFT, for me, that shows that's better than just somebody saying, oh, well, we have their KYC, because how do I know you have their KYC? Right? If you have that, like you were talking about, you have that proof kind of behind that, So
yeah, and it's not KYC too, so that, like, because the anonymous individuals are, for me, equally as important to protect as the businesses who want the information about the anonymous individual.
Yeah.
And so for me, that's why I came into this industry, in the way that I started guiding meta builders, is to support the service industry, because throughout the process of building meta builders, I got close with a lot of people in the industry, and it was important to me that they were safe and I was safe, and that people that I invited into this industry are safe. And I've invited people into Web3 that have gotten taken advantage of, and it had ruined friendships. And it's like, those are huge pain points in my life that have motivated me to want to provide this level of security, because it should be safe. You should be able to come into this fun environment in a way that is like, you don't have to look out for sharp glass while you're frolicking. If that makes sense.
Yeah, makes perfect sense.
Well, that's what I was just going to say. Like, the funny thing is, you said that, but there's things that I've changed my approach on. I introduced people to a project that I thought was great, and I don't know why, because I'm always so very careful about a project, but for some reason this project just spoke to me, and I just thought it was awesome. And then it ended up, it's very strange. They didn't rug, but they ended up launching it 20 cents cheaper than they said they were going to, and all this stuff. And I've got a couple people that I had told to get into the project, and I know they're like, oh no, it's not, it's okay. And I know that the relationship is different now. And so I have changed. Like, I will never, ever, ever recommend a pre-sale to anybody again, no matter how great I feel about it. Because that happened to me, you know what I'm saying? And so you don't realize, like you said, and this is with safety. I mean, and this is with anything in the Web3 space, or, anything with anything really. Like, you're only as good as your word, right? And so, you gotta, kind of cherish that. And I recommended like 3 people to get into this project, and still has not come back yet, and it's just a bad thing. So yeah, I completely relate to you there.
Right, and so that's the whole point: is that meta builders can be a legitimate business that can accept funds in ways that is a distributed, fair, equitable distribution of funds, and also be that, suable entity, so that if something does happen with these anonymous individuals, that the businesses can recoup on their losses. And it also provides an entity that is like a tax shelter for the gains and losses for the crypto, instead of being a person making income. Now you're talking about business income, and it just all around provides more security for everyone involved.
Well,
and
I think it
myself being doxxed, that also shows everybody, like, hey, now you can call the real guy that founded this whole thing and see his face. My name is Mike Smart. That's my real name.
Well, the thing, like I was going to say too, is that there's a lot of people with a lot of information that can help you, right? Like you were saying about how you can use this as a business entity instead of, with the gains and everything. So you not only you learn how to be safer, but you also gain those kind of benefits, you know what I mean, without even realizing it.
Yeah, definitely. And Mike, do you want to just go into a bit more detail as well about, because what I think is really brilliant about Meta Builders is, like you was mentioning before, that you guys provide all Web3 services, and there's quite a few people in the industry that can provide services, but, as an individual entity on their own, they may not find the amount of work that they need to make that as a career path. So I think, protecting the services that people will require and are going to require, and also giving people a place to find that work, I just think is a really, really essential part of what you guys are doing, because I think that is what's going to keep this industry growing, is people being able to, find a home, if you will, to find the work, and for people to go to find the services that they need. So I think being a Web3 service provider, I think, is a really important step in the growth of Web3.
Well, and what's a huge pain point that I have as the founder of Meta Builders is that it's not like a traditional business, in a sense to where I have employees that are working for me and stuff like that. We're building the infrastructure to empower all Web3 freelancers to be able to conduct business in this transparent way. So with that, we want, ideally everyone to be using it, just like it would be beneficial for everyone to be using something like the Wallet Watch. It's part of the infrastructure that adds security for the entire industry. And with that, our plans to utilize the DAOs and the tokens within all of our partner DAOs to be able to pay people in their desired tokens, and also earn into governance with these different DAOs. So if you come into Meta Builders, you can go on the bounty board and one of our partner bounty boards, Page DAO, and you can write an article. Like, there's a bounty up there that says fashion, Web3 fashion industry. Someone goes up there and they get the bounty, they write the article, they send it in, and then they make Page, and Page token, it acts as a currency and as governance. So now you are part of the governance of a DAO just by working your way into it. And you can do that with the entire industry and every partner of every different type of Web3 service you can imagine. You can come in as a 3D developer, do the same thing with the seed token and metagame. You come in as a game developer with the one token and the one game initiative. It's all just a beautiful mechanism that empowers DAOs and freelancers.
Yeah, and say people that purchase your guys' services, it really supports the entire infrastructure as well, doesn't it? Because meta builders, personally, from what I've learned about it, really supports Web3 and keeps it Web3 in the way that is really going to help completely build this entire infrastructure. And I think that it's an amazing ecosystem that you've built, and I think it's an absolute force to be reckoned with, because that's what makes such a great connection between the communities and meta builders, is the fact that you guys are so community driven, and you've designed this ecosystem to really support the people that are building everything in Web3. So massive respect for that.
I appreciate it. And I want to also give a shout out to people like Musashi, who's one of the earlier, adopters of meta builders. He has had similar ideas in the past, and it's really difficult to build this type of stuff, especially when your ideas are so vast and like grandiose, like ours are. But so through the process of learning and meeting some of these people, I've met more and more people who were already building things that I had envisioned, and that's why I try to explain this. Like, it's not, nobody here has any unique ideas, right? It's all a bunch of ideas floating around in the wind, and some of us are catching the ideas in the wind. I happened to catch the idea of decentralization because it was just in the wind, and I took full advantage of it and realized that my place was in this part of it, the decentralization aspect of the Web3 service industry, because that's where I'm from, is traditional like construction and service industry. And so I've owned my own construction company. I've just done a lot of this type of stuff. So just bridging that into this type of environment was a no-brainer.
Yeah, but super important as well, because, from the point that I mentioned earlier, that I personally can't stress enough how important it is to have that, because, if people want to utilize the services that you guys provide, or actually provide those services themselves as an individual entity, or one of the services that you mentioned earlier, like where would people go? Where can people find trusted people in an ecosystem? And you guys provide all of that, and I just think that that's absolutely mind-blowing. And there's so much within your ecosystem, and so much that you guys have been doing for so long as well. You guys have been to loads of events. Like you was at the Miami event as well, weren't you?
Yeah, we've sponsored South by Southwest. I sponsored and hosted the Crypto Jazz Festival in 2021. I've been to Miami twice, once with my kids, which was a mistake, and then again by myself, which wasn't any more fun. But we've done lots of events, and we continue to tour as MetaJacks. Currently, we're touring with Arturo Sandoval, who just was nominated for a Grammy for our NFT album that we launched for him and produced.
Now that is remarkable, because that is one very successful individual. I think the last time I checked it, personally, it won, I don't know if it was 12 or 15 Grammy Awards. The man is super successful, so that's quite an achievement.
Thank you.
But yeah,
we're basically trying to build into every part of the industry, because we, being that infrastructure, we need to cover every angle. So we've got MetaJacks for musicians, we've got Metagame for developers, we've got Meta Builders for business type and like direct to consumer, like B2B type relationships. Token Smart's more for like the live metaverse events. With our network, we have everything Web3. And if we just have one solid place where everyone can go and conduct the business, If you want to throw a show over at TokenSmart, if you want to pay a freelancer or you want to pay the platform, you can do it in a trusted or a trustless way through the MetaBuilders ecosystem. It's not like as a business, we're skimming any money through the deals. It's like a Craigslist for Web3 services, basically. Like anyone can go on the bounty board and say, boom, we did this through the MetaBuilders ecosystem. We're token gated based on our participation in this ecosystem. And this is how I prefer to do my business because I know that it's safe, like a Fiverr or a Craigslist or something like that, where it's autonomous and decentralized and inevitably will be like the trapper keeper, just absorb all things Web3.
Yeah, and you've done an incredible job of that as well because, when I first started learning about meta builders, I thought I'd started to get a grasp of it, but the deeper I looked, the more that I saw. And, these communities aren't small communities either, like Token Smart of, they're about to reach around, 30,000 members in the Discord alone. And these are people that have been in Web3 since the beginning. These guys, built the foundations that many of these NFT projects in the community are building on top of. And to have people like that within your ecosystem is absolutely paramount for having that understanding and that knowledge and experience to continue building the industry out in general.
Right. And the idea is that each of these entities, which they have, bought into the DAO of MetaBuilders. Everyone just bought in. I think it was a 0.1 ETH or something buy-in. And that got us our 20 original members. And then as we scale this, we will be we'll sell a package and MetaBuilders will accept the funds. And then whoever is going to be involved, like if it's Macy's and they want to throw another parade, but this time have a successful experience, they can hire us and then we will hire out all of our partners to execute on these tasks through this mechanism. That way it can be done in a trustless way and, maintain that customer relationship.
Yeah. So, in just to make it more understandable on regards of like what you guys do, like what sort of services do you guys provide?
Well, we build dApps, smart contracts. We build like websites, traditional Web 2 and Web 3 websites, which is basically the dApp. We build metaverses. We can build in other people's metaverses as well, or virtual environments. We can build in augmented reality as well. And we do marketing, community management, NFT curation. We do any type of art curation. We have professional artists all the way to photorealistic quality art to pixelated crap. Like we've got them all. And we pretty much do everything. We even do agent services. We'll send people to host booths in other parts of the country, and you name it. Any Web3 marketing or development services we do.
Yeah, no, that is incredible. And I was just looking at one of your partnerships again because I was blown away about it. NFT the movie. What can you say about that? Like, who are they and what do they do?
So NFT the movie was led by Jeff Crane and a few friends of mine, Heidi and Josh. But essentially, it's a living documentary that documents all things NFT and Web3. And they've traveled all over the world from Costa Rica to Utah, like United States, all over the place, East Coast and West Coast, filming these things. And I've been along for the ride for the majority of the time. I mean, since 2021, and traveled all over with them, filming different things. We basically use them for a marketing arm for our clients. So if it's like, hey, if you want to get into an NFT, the movie living documentary where hundreds of projects have showcased, their work, and it's pretty sweet. And they've actually moved on to add more value to their entertainment company through AI businesses and things of that sort. So I'm really excited to see what they do in the future.
Yeah, that is pretty incredible.
Yeah, I rolled around with Jeff Train in the NFT, the movie mobile out in Miami. And we went to Art Basel, and there was tons of people the car wasn't like a Ferrari or anything. It was just decked out in this NFT, the movie stickers and stuff. So everyone just loved it. And there was people taking pictures and laying on top of the car, like celebrity style dressed individuals, just all glammed up, and they were just loving it. It was such a fun time just rolling around in tropical environment, just everyone staring and honking on the freeway. Pretty quality stuff.
Yeah, because I mean, that was one of the things that really took me, that I was really hyped about around meta builders, is that a lot of the things that people are just starting to get into and start building now, you guys have been a part of and building since back in 2021. Like these events that you've been in events in 2021. I mean, you've also created your own NFT project as well. I don't know if you want to talk a little bit about that. The SDP Owls.
Yeah, that's actually how this whole thing started. Because after I lost a bunch of money trading, leverage trading, I wanted to provide value to the ecosystem, and I thought point of sale made the most sense. So I started Smart Digital Payments. My name is Mike Smart, so Smart Digital Payments. I didn't want it to be like crypto something or whatever. And I realized quickly that I did not enjoy the payments industry as much as I thought I would. And so I wanted a different angle. I didn't want to bug people or telemarket or whatever. So I got into NFTs and created an NFT project called SDP Owls, which is basically Smart Digital Payments Owls. And just went buck wild with that. And I started learning about the metaverse and started building in Minecraft and building my presence there and focusing on the brand aspect of the owls themselves, because, I figured we could get them as collectibles and, build that brand and sell the merch and have people automatically love the brand and then be attracted into learning more about cryptocurrencies through these types of, mechanisms. Back before NFTs were a thing, like people were just making them. People like it was some of the dumbest stuff, but then the apes came out and all this craze, floor prices and Gary V vibes, and then all of a sudden the whole vision was lost. Now my 30-cent NFTs weren't so valuable to the marketplace because there was $1 million NFTs being sold on ETH. But yeah, anyways, the SDP Owls they've been in movies, games, and a cartoon that is basically an African-American He-Man that speaks positive messages to the youth of today, that is not so generically one demographic. And so SDP is a supportive character in that. And we have me and my daughters have written a book series to help support the NFTs as well. So they're everywhere. And SDP Owls and Meta Builders are basically combining as one thing, to where we provide point of sale devices to empower businesses and merchants to accept cryptocurrencies, as well as building dApps and smart contracts to empower their online presence and build 3D environments in like the metaverse with an added money layer for people to be able to transact these NFTs and get real world objects in return via these smart contracts within the NFTs on similar platforms like Amazon, but through some of our partners.
Yeah, because I mean, I've seen many metaverses that you guys have got a presence in, and I mean, for example, what what you guys had built over in Minecraft, for example, was absolutely mind blowing. Like, I actually could not believe my eyes when I saw the infrastructures that you guys have built. It must have taken hours to build that.
Oh, I had a team of people building in Minecraft at the rate of $2,000 per month, and these dudes were working around the clock. Like, if we had a whole operation going where people were mining, like chopping down trees and collecting wood and all this other stuff, so that we could have the builders building. We had a security team. It was ridiculous just to build the brand, because like people don't understand the power in being able to monetize like real world objects within a virtual environment. You know, like these, you can turn Minecraft into a 3-dimensional website where you can put QR codes on the walls with links to your website or links to your NFT project. And now people are buying NFTs in the metaverse that they can, I mean, it doesn't even have to be the metaverse. It can just be Minecraft. Like I said, you know, it just changes the game. And so now if you have a huge presence in a server that people can just randomly stop upon and see some dope pictures of some shiny owls, and that leads them down a rabbit hole of things that they can then become obsessed with, like consumable items, I guess, for lack of better terms. Then now you have a brand that is deeply rooted within, you know, the future, with products and services that are tied into sovereignty and decentralization and positive thinking. And now you have, you know, fully integrated a new way, you know what I mean? Like, and a way that can't be taken down or silenced.
Yeah, because that was one of the first things that really took me about you as I got to know you, was your level of understanding, and your experience was second to none. And the you know, the way that you understood branding and how it worked and how best to utilize it, and you know, how best to benefit from those layers that you guys implement, completely blew me away. Because you know, you guys look at things from angles that most people don't even think about or would even consider an angle at all. So I was completely blown away by your guys' level of understanding in regards to branding, and you know, all the experience that you guys bring to the table in regards of how you can really completely change the dynamics of environments that you wouldn't even think are even monetizable. Really impressive.
Thank you. Well, and that's how we can, you know, start utilizing these different technologies, like over the reality, for example, OVR. You can add certain 3-dimensional type, I guess, holograms, for example, to your books and enhance that reader experience, like Lost Children of Andromeda has done, where you could just scan it and now you have a whole scene of that chapter playing out in augmented reality right before you.
It's funny you say it, because actually quite similar to something that Sarah Main did. She's out in the audience there. It was like a postcard, and you could load that up, and the postcard comes alive. It was really cool.
Yeah, no, these things are amazing. Like what people can do nowadays to enhance what already exists is insane. So if you can create these little digital collectibles that you can scatter throughout the real world and in like these virtual environments with augmented reality and whatnot, and then have these purchasable digital representations of real world items right there in front of you, just like if you were on your VR at home interacting with an object in the game. It's the same type of functionality, but when you interact with that object, there's a real world smart contract behind there that's purchasing items and sending and delivering items. So now you can literally just pop up an augmented reality store in front of you, like, oh, I want to hit the 7-Eleven. Boom, pop up a 7-Eleven in your house, grab some stuff. Boom. It's basically the same as going to Grubhub, but you don't have to do it in a boring way.
Yeah, and that is incredible. And making, you know, like for example, you know, like what you guys do with metagame and sort of gamifying these experiences and making them earnable opportunities as well. I just think that the way that, there's just so many layers within all of this that really bring it all to meaning and life and purpose. I just think it's phenomenal. And it absolutely blows me away that you guys have been doing this for so long. And it honestly throws me as to how you guys haven't been seen as much as you should have been, in my opinion.
Well, you got to think about the flashiness or the lack thereof. I intentionally don't do things that other people are doing because I'm like a grumpy old man. I'm just like, ugh, like these PFPs are dumb, and I get it and I buy them. I'm a consumer of them, but I can't stand behind them as a product, So what I'm trying to create is a safe environment for people to be able to create their PFPs or purchase or participate in these projects, mind all the P words, and be able to continue this goofiness without all the risk. Because it's fun. I love it. Like, it's goofy, but it needs to be safer.
Yeah, no, I agree. And when I thought that, the PFP side of NFTs, let's say, I thought that's all that the NFT space was. I didn't realize just how deep it went and how much utility was actually in that technology until, I met you and I started speaking to you and, learning about your ecosystem, and it absolutely blew me away. And it's just something I think has to be protected and at least given enough respect for people to just at least just look at it, just look into this ecosystem and look at what you guys are about and what you do, because it deserves at least that. Just going through, for all your socials, for example, going through your social media, just seeing where you guys have been and what you've done and the people you have interacted with, the people that you partnered with, and all the things you've managed to achieve. And even looking back at the stuff you guys have been building years ago, the quality is above and beyond some of the stuff I've seen even to being built recently with better technologies, shall we say, or easier infrastructures. It completely blows me away that the quality that you guys have been creating for years, it's almost being done elsewhere but downgraded, if I've explained that right.
Yeah, basically the industry is promoting the IKEA of what we have done.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but years later, and everyone's blown away by it.
We sponsored the NFT NYC in 2021, as MetaJax did, and we played on the rooftop of the event at NFT NYC. And the crew that did so ended up moving on to, like I said, be nominated for a Grammy for the first, I believe it was the first NFT to be nominated for a Grammy, but I could be, or the music NFT to be nominated for a Grammy, but I could be wrong. But yeah, so like we've done some of these things, but we're not out there marketing it because we're not backed by these corporations, and the fact that we're trying to decentralize things isn't attractive to VCs. So you can't come in and just buy a chunk of what we're doing. You have to, if you're going to buy a chunk, it's going to be in a decentralized way to where a community gets to vote on the funds. And, it's like there's not opportunity for people to scrape value, because what doesn't get used isn't going to go towards profits for a CEO like Mike Smart, me. It's going to go towards the treasury for the entire Web3 community and whoever has whatever levels of responsibility over the treasury. It's going to be up to that large group of people. And therefore, there will be less in the future if we continue to build like this as an industry and as a people, as a species, and decentralize every aspect of humanity, essentially, then we will obfuscate the issue of the imbalance of poverty and wealth. And, it just is going to be so much more amazing if we just continue to build these open source, decentralized tooling and use everyone's stuff that we've been building for years and share each other's things, and stop accumulating intellectual property in a toxic fashion and just litigating people's businesses out from underneath them instead of collaborate, anyways.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. And that is something that, I'm personally passionate about, and I know a lot of people in the community are as well. I can see Wolfpack, you've got your hand up. Sorry, but I wasn't looking at my screen. I didn't realise. I don't know how long you've had your hand up for. You've got a question, my friend?
Yeah. Were you at NFT Miami?
Which year?
This year.
No, I was last year.
You were last year. Okay. Yes. See, I ended up going this year. My friend ended up last year because I was looking for your booth this year because he talked to you last year and told me to come and find you, and I didn't find your booth. So I was wondering if I missed you because it wasn't that busy this year. I don't know if it was because of COVID or what it was, but yeah. So, well, hopefully, do you plan to go anywhere next year?
To be honest, the events are costly, and most of the conversations happen at the parties on the boats afterwards. Like, most of the money that's talked about aren't, like, the opportunities are very rarely given to the people who are participating in the events that don't make it to the after parties. So
yeah, because
if I participate, it's in the after party.
It's funny you say that because I was going to say if I go next year, I'm just going to go to a lot of the after parties. I found, especially NFT Miami, like we paid for the Apton ticket, and it definitely was not worth the money. And I actually connected more with people, like you said, on the after parties. And I met, do you know Sammy Arriaga? Have you ever heard of him?
No.
He's a country singer he's actually from Miami, but he moved to Nashville, And like I saw him like once at the actual event. I ended up being able to reach out to him and spend time with him. And it was at the after party. And he's the one that actually told me, he's like, don't waste your time, just go to the after parties and stuff. So yeah, that's where I've spent most of the time. So
I just save a lot of money, save a lot of time, spare yourself a lot of bullshit.
It's too bad too because the events could be good, but it's just money grabs. I mean, like a soda was $5, right?
Yeah, you're going there for a socializing experience, and that is the gist. So you're not. It's partially entertainment, it's partially networking, but a lot of it's just showing off and seeing friends that you don't get to see in real life very often.
Well, but what I'm thinking we can do is maybe, hopefully in the future we can plan something like that where we just plan like a 1-day thing where a lot of us get together, where it's not like about the because the connections that I did make, I made a couple and they were really great. And it's like if I could have made more of that, it would have been so awesome,
Yeah, and I'm just like hyper focused on building, and when I leave my home or my business, it's like it's almost like when you reach out and overextend yourself, try to lift something heavy and fuck up your back. Like, I'm good right here. But when you get me bouncing around, and now I don't know where this email is, I don't know where that is, like my phone isn't exactly 6 inches to my left, so I can't grab it to, you know what I mean? Like, so I'm just cool on that. I'll send other humans everywhere to do those things for me. I'm not going to do it.
But I just thought it was crazy for the money that we spent, what you got and what you didn't get. You know what I mean? And that's, that's everything. Everybody's always trying to be out for something, But I mean, our ticket was $470. And
yeah, that's why you go to sponsor the booths, because if you sponsor, now you're spending double what people are spending for tickets, but you have an opportunity to showcase your project, your projects and products, and get that money back.
Yeah, well,
I think it's pretty cool though that your friend had seen Meta Builders booth the year before.
Yeah, well, it's cool because I had, it's like we talk about, good projects and like who to look out for, and you know what I mean. And it's like, and he also told me to reach out to one of the other ones that we reached out to, which was Aura, AURA, and we actually ended up reaching out to them, and they're helping us now. But it's cool that it's like if you can get in this community of the smaller groups, you can really find out the good people are. But it's just you got to make sure you are finding the good people.
Right, and that's what this is a platform for, is so that people can be verified in open forums, and you can hear people talk and listen to what they say. Now you have a recording of their voice saying specific things, so that in the future you can measure that against what's on the blockchain, which isn't going anywhere, and you could say, well, this person's full of shit, or not. And now you have that layer of security with the community of communities. And then when it goes that layer deeper into metagame, now you're verifying individuals' abilities and character. And, if they go through the process of the metagame onboarding, and by the time they're on the other end of that, they're a verified individual that is able to then work on projects for meta builders, for these traditional businesses. And with all of these layers of safety, including things like Webacy, our newest partner, we are able to provide the safest, most efficient, and fun onboarding experience for Web3 in existence.
Now, I had a question for you, and tell me what you think of this. I was thinking, because I do, one of my parts of my project is actual in real life dog rescue, and could you guys verify that people are doing what they're saying they're doing as far as like donations and stuff like that?
Right. Well, that's another thing, is that we have, other people in our network, like Earth Fund.
Yeah.
They have a mechanism for funding that is just like that, where you basically launch your nonprofit on this platform, and it becomes a DAO that then people vote whether or not certain philanthropic efforts are funded, and then that funding is transparent and immediate via the blockchain, and so you can see it all, where it goes and who it's going to and who voted it in, and all of that.
See, because that's one thing that I want to do for myself, is I want to have it set up to where my project is provable where the donations are going to. Like, does that make sense? Am I saying that right?
I suggest you check out earthfund.io.
Okay. Yeah, definitely will.
You can go create a DAO for free and drop a token on their platform, and people who own the token, the One Earth token, can vote whether or not your project gets funded, and it's pretty dope. And it's very, very quick and easy and seamless. The whole process, they set up a treasury for you, like Gnosis and whatnot, but just be prepared for it to, you got to put liquidity to your own token and all these other different things.
That's fine. And that's what I want. But you know what I mean? I want to have that proof. You know what I'm saying? Because like I said, I'm out here. I'm already in real life doing what I'm talking about. So I like me proving. It's not. I don't even want to say proving. Being verifiable. You know what I'm saying? I want people to say, "Oh, look at he's doing this, and he said he's doing this, and he's doing this," and I want the checks and balances. And I think that goes into somebody that's doing the right thing. They want that stuff, because I don't want somebody to say, "Oh, well, he's not doing what he said with the money," because now I have to prove it. Whereas if I just have something like this, I already have that set up, So.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
We normally run these spaces for 2 hours. We are very quickly approaching that. Just want to quickly add that in there.
Yeah, no, nice one, Bacon. Nice one. Is there anything else you was wanting to progress on to next, Mike, about your substantially large ecosystem?
Well, right now, I think the most important thing to me is what's most important to everyone else, and that is to create a mechanism with which we can prove what we're talking about, and therefore, that leads me to want to mention the Community of Communities book project, because this is an incredible project that we put together that has basically allowed these smaller projects or brands to get into a high quality product an NFT book collaboration that will also be minted, or it'll be minted and it'll be published on Amazon. But essentially, it's 150 Matic for the first page, and once the book is complete, we're going to be putting it in the Crypto Magazine, which is in 19 countries worldwide, and nowhere, anywhere will you be able to find such high quality products and such a large reach for your product for such a low barrier to entry. And we have Hangry Animals, Crypto Magazine collaborating on the project, and lots of other different professionals that are going to be able to execute on this high quality product. So anyhow, and we're delegating a lot of the work, or all of the work, through the platform on MetaBuilder, so that we can help onboard people and teach people at the same time while they're getting paid to do the work for the NFT book project, which is basically all the stuff we're all doing, like how everyone's always, like Tricky and Bacon and Rev are always up here in the spaces. We're just going to essentially be turning that around to monetizing our activities and, highlighting the projects that are participating in this book project. And that'll be a good base layer, something fun and easy to understand for people to start understanding our ecosystem and benefiting from participating as well.
Yeah, which I think is absolutely brilliant, because this is an absolutely incredible way for communities to come together as well, because there's going to be a series of 10 books. The goal is to have 100 pages in each book. And like Mike was saying, the first book, the pages will cost 150 Matic per page, but then obviously that will go up every single book. And to have your NFT character be in that story that will be put globally is absolutely remarkable for just 150 Matic. And to have a potential of 99 other communities supporting a project that your project is a part of is not only Web3 to its core, but you can imagine the reach that will get for everybody, and really showcase what Web3 is all about, bringing people together, and, an ecosystem that supports every single person that's inside of it. I just think it's a great way to really showcase that as well. So I think it's an absolutely amazing way to really show the true benefit of collaboration, the networking opportunities that will come with that as well. If, as a someone that owns their own project, having the ability to network and connect with 99 of the projects can only do amazing things. And to have your brand put globally, I just think it's absolutely remarkable for just 150 Mike.
Right, and then it scales up as we go on, so that we're not having people buy into this big old project, and now we have a treasury of $500,000 worth of crypto sitting in a wallet, and people are waiting on us to execute. We scale it in a way to where it's like, okay, well, the first book is going to only net us $15,000, with which we're going to have to develop the first book, and so we're going to be able to showcase the quality work that we can do at a low budget and show our trust, prove that trust and prove that ecosystem is what, I say it is. And now we've got the next book. We've got that momentum of the first book. And if it's quality, then we move forward to the next book. If it's not, nobody's out more than 150 Matic for, participating in something that could have been something cool. So in my opinion, it's a low risk, high reward. And I would suggest anybody that has a project that wants to get their project into the Crypto Magazine but can't afford the thousands of dollars that it costs per page to get in, our partnership with Crypto Magazine has allowed us to take more control over some of the content that gets into the magazine, and therefore, we can execute on this project and verify that we can get the level of coverage that we say we can, not